Hello, friends. We're delighted you could join us today for our tea chat with Tamara and Twila. We're a mother-daughter team. We have a small shop just south of Lawrence, Kansas, and we teach lots of classes online.
And we want to wish you a happy November.
Yes.
It is a new month. With a new month comes changes always, notably changes of weather.
Burr.
Since we had our first frost and our hard freeze all in the same night. And with this coming month, and in fact, this coming weekend is daylight savings time.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that is something I have a hard time getting used to.
Yeah, I think I saw somewhere that they are considering
Yes.
eliminating daylight savings time, which would be great.
We kind of like that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not having to make those adjustments.
Yes.
I find it's hard on our pets. They're like, what do you mean you're not feeding me right when we're supposed to be feeding me? They know what time it is. But, well, as we enter into November, we want to make sure that we are reading our November chapter in the Gatherings from the Good Earth book, Mom's book. And if you don't have a copy, you'll want to be sure to get a copy. It also makes a great gift, which is another thing that we're thinking about this time of year, gift giving.
It is. And one of the things that I always believe is a good idea to give is books.
Yes.
And I know in one country, I believe it is that you wrap up books for Christmas Day and they open them on New Year's Day.
I love that.
And so it's a gift that stays wrapped up until New
So
Year's Day.
it's
And
a
it's a New Year's Day reading. You read all day.
I love that. I want to do that.
I do too.
I always get books anyway. I mean, most people in my family know that
Yes,
they're gonna get books from me at some point or another because, you know, I was an old English teacher and I love books and you love books. We love to read in our
Yes, we
family.
do.
Yeah.
And we have a good selection of books here at the store.
Yeah.
Some wonderful books. Some are used, and we have some brand new ones too that we carry.
Yeah.
And they are great. And if you have questions about them, you certainly ask us, and we'll kind of tell you our thoughts on the book.
Yeah, we have limited shelf space, so we only carry in the shop what we absolutely love and recommend. And
it's probably under 10 titles.
Yes, yeah, not very many,
Not very
but
many.
some really excellent ones for gift
They're
giving.
the ones we love.
And of course, we have other things for gift giving too. You know,
Yes.
our teas and coffees.
Our teas, of course. People do come in and buy the bigger packets of teas
Yeah.
for the winter months and also for gift giving. And we have the strainers and the mugs and
Yeah,
the things
everything that goes along with it.
yes. And if you're not a fan of tea,
We have
there
herbal
is
coffee,
herbal coffee,
which is
always.
it's actually like
Wonder.
a tea, I
Yeah.
suppose, but it tastes like coffee. That's what I drink every morning is our herbal coffee. It's roasted dandelion root, roasted chicory root, and some warming spice, and it's really yummy.
Herbal coffee is a great substitute, and it's good for those trying to get off of caffeine.
For sure, yeah. And this time of year, we're moving towards my favorite family holiday of our year is what we call our Family Day of Remembrance. And we started this tradition when my firstborn was born. And I was really thinking about what traditions did I want to raise my family with. And I found myself really longing for something like the Mexican Day of the Dead, something where we honor our loved ones who have passed. And this time of year is really a natural time, I think, to think about death and to glean lessons from Mother Nature about how to let go and to really pause in this very much a liminal space to honor those that we've loved who have gone on into the next world. And unfortunately, I think our modern culture here has really lost sense of the sacred part of this time of year. And in that loss, it's really created something that's scary and grotesque so that we ended up with, Halloween that's a gory fright instead of a holy sacred night. And culturally, we've also lost those sacred rituals that have helped us to process significant life and death transitions. And I really feel like our spirits are hungry for something that's really real, something very meaningful. And when our culture fails us, we have to look to our ancestral wisdom and other cultural traditions for their wisdom and empower ourselves to create our own rituals for ourselves and for our families. Rituals that help us to process grief, to face fears, and to understand deeply the cycles of living and dying and our place in them. And so I think we can find ceremonies to honor deceased loved ones at this transitional time across cultures. And so that's what we did. We looked at different cultural and some of the newer traditions that have come up around this time of year, this holiday. So when my kids were little, we would celebrate this always the day after Halloween. So I would always let my kids take off the day after Halloween, after school. My husband and I, we were both teachers, and we are both really big believers in that there shouldn't be any school the day after Halloween. I mean, it's hard on the teachers, it's hard on the kids, and why not do something special? And so we did. We always let our kids stay home. We would do our Day of the Dead, or our day of now family remembrance. And we would set up our altar of pictures of our loved ones that we had lost. Mm-hmm. And this could be anyone. It might be family ancestors that we didn't know. Mm-hmm. And it might be people in our lives who had touched us, who had died, pets that have died. And of course, when our kids were little, our altar was really small. And now, as the years have gone by and the cycles mm-hmm. of life have gone by, and more and more people and pets have passed on, our altar just keeps growing. And I'm really grateful that we started this holiday. We always meet with family and try and have dishes that some of our deceased loved ones would have enjoyed. And we set a place at the table for our deceased loved ones, and we invite them to join us for our meal, and we eat by candlelight. And then afterwards, we go over to the altar, and the kids traditionally, and now the kids are growing, it's maybe change a little bit, but traditionally the kids would take turns taking photos off the altar and bringing them over to where we're all sitting in the living room, and we would tell stories and remember those who had passed so that their memory stays alive.
One by one,
which I think mm-hmm. is really important. And so I really look forward to this. And so we're doing that this Sunday, and it's my favorite because I feel like it's such an important thing to do, to honor those who have gone before us.
And it's okay to create your own family ceremonies.
Absolutely.
Rituals, traditions. They can change from generation to generation. We understand that. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and it's one I hope my kids will carry on. Mm-hmm. I know one of my kids this year said, I think I'm going to skip it this year, but that's okay, Mom. And I said, that's all right, And maybe when he gets a little bit older, it will come back around. Mm-hmm. So everything is cyclic.
Yes, we give them those roots.
That's right. We give them the roots.
We certainly do. One of the things that I will be making is a platter of ginger cookies, mm-hmm. which is a family favorite. Yes. And it's a warming cookie for this time of the year, and we'll include the recipe here in the comments section.
Yeah, it's really yummy. And we would be interested too. What are some of your favorite ancestral recipes? Recipes that have been handed down to you, or recipes that someone in your family really loved? We'd love if you'd post below. We're always looking for new and interesting recipes, and we especially love recipes that are family recipes. I think that's really nice.
Yes, and this is the time of year we start thinking about those family recipes.
For sure. Yeah, it's
this month and next month.
when the weather gets cold, I'm ready to do some baking and mm-hmm. cooking and be in the kitchen with some warming spices, especially which ginger.
Yes, and ginger is a warming spice, and that cookie is a warming cookie to eat. It tastes so good with a hot drink with it.
A little too good.
Yes, and one of the things you can do, you could add something else to it if you want to, like mini chocolate chips or something else.
Yum, for
Perk
sure.
it up a little bit if you want.
Yeah, and ginger, is an herb, of course. Lots of pretty much anything that you're baking with is going to be an herb of some kind, and we use the rhizome of the ginger plant, and you can use it either fresh or dried. Generally, in the ginger cookies, we use powdered dried. I love to use fresh in lots of the, sometimes in the soups that we make and such. It has an affinity. Ginger has an affinity for the heart, the lungs, and the digestive system. And it's really a wonderful herb to have on hand for when we maybe start to feel like we're coming down with something, because ginger is antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral. So both antibacterial and antiviral, and it has many, many other actions as well. The fresh, of course, is warming. The dried is actually hot. The dried ginger is more warming than the fresh ginger is. It's one of those wonderful herbs that we call an adjuvant or a synergist. It actually, if we're putting it in a formula, it helps to make the other herbs even more effective. And of course, a lot of people know of using ginger as an herb from being pregnant. That's one of the ways that, I used it when I was pregnant, because it's known to help with nausea, or even nausea when you're driving, and if you have some kind of motion sickness. A lot of people use ginger for that as well.
Ginger tea.
Yeah, ginger tea works really well for that. And ginger in lots of different forms you can use. As herbalists too, we like to use ginger for any kind of stagnancy. So herbally, we think about if something isn't moving, and that'd be the digestive system or the blood or any kind of thing that needs to have a little bit of boost to get moving. Ginger is great for any kind of stagnancy and, of course, any kind of illness coming on. It's one of the first things I grab for. I'll do a fresh ginger tea with some lemon and some, maybe even some honey, and maybe even some other herbs or warming spices. It's absolutely wonderful to help kick your immune system into gear and help you beat that before it settles in. And if you have something that's already settled in, it can help to move things so that they can move it on out.
And in the shop, we carry ginger.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yes, we carry chocolate covered ginger, which a lot of people really love. Dark chocolate covered crystallized ginger. Oh my goodness. It is a little addictive. And we also carry regular crystallized ginger in these wonderful big strips. Oh my gosh, it's so soft and delicious. It's one of the best crystallized gingers we've ever had, which is why we have it in the shop.
It's one of our very popular items.
Very popular, and I, love eating that sometimes with a bite of the crystallized ginger, the soft, chewy crystallized ginger with a bite of really dark chocolate, like the 86% chocolate, and
together.
Oh, so good. So good. And we also, of course, have the dried ginger pieces and the dried ginger powder because we use them in herbal preparations, and a lot of our students do as well. And speaking of our students, our Home Herbalist Apprenticeship program is open for enrollment. We do have some spots still left. If you've ever wanted to become a confident home herbalist, to use herbs confidently for both herbal remedy making and in your kitchen, and to grow them, and to just feel very deeply connected with Mother Earth and the cycles of the seasons and the moon, and just not only going outside and seeing plants, but really beginning to recognize your green friends. We invite you to join us, and you can find out more at goodearthherbschool.com.
And now that we've had a hard freeze, it's an excellent time to dig the roots.
Yes, this is the time of the roots. And ginger, of course, is a root. It's a rhizome. And we'd like to close with something that I wrote last year about this time of year. So 'tis the season of roots, digging rhizomes and roots of medicine plants for the winter apothecary, heart opening to ancestral connection, which is, of course, another type of roots, right? As the veil between the world thins, honoring the deep wisdom of root medicine, lessons for survival learned from one season to the next, etched into our roots, deep hidden threads of lore, intertwined and unseen, dreaming in the dark.
And with that, we'll plan to see you next week.
Good earth blessings to you.